3. Does anybody have any changes to the agenda? No. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Privilege of the floor. There is nobody here from patronage, general public, so we'll move on. Does anybody have any changes to the
Oh, we gotta-
minutes?
We gotta do this.
Excuse me.
Trustee Thomas.
Trustee term
Swearing.
Is that on?
Should be.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know it was
Number
on. Sorry. Alright. Sorry. Trustee new term oaths.
Do it individually. I, Ellen Mary O'Brien, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of trustee for the Goshen Public Library and Historical Society according to the best of my ability. And I do further solemnly swear that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, or promised to pay, contributed, or offered, or promised to contribute any money or other valuable thing as a consideration or reward for the giving or withholding a vote at the election at which I was elected to said office, and have not made any promise to influence the giving or withholding of any such vote.
Thank you.
And I, Bernard Marone, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of trustee for the Goshen Public Library and Historical Society according to the best of my ability. And I do further solemnly swear that I have not, directly or indirectly, paid, offered, or promised to pay, contributed, or offered, or promised to contribute any money or other valuable thing as a consideration or reward for the giving or withholding of votes at the election at which I was elected to said office, and have not made any promise to influence the giving or withholding any such votes.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Welcome aboard. What do I do?
These are for you. You have a copy and I have two. Thank you very much.
Nope.
Does anybody have any changes to the minutes from the last meeting? Is that enough? Okay. May I have a motion to accept the minutes for the May 12th meeting? Motion made by Nancy, seconded by Norma. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Treasurer's report.
Thank you, Keith. Congratulations again, Elmer and Fernie. We have the reports here through May 31st, month 11, so there's 1 month left. And as you can see, we're keeping where we've been pretty much all year. Salary line is only over by about $1,200. We know that there are certain reasons for that. So really taking those into account, it would really be pretty much right on. And the books, I entered halfway through April, so the Baker and Taylor, I think that might, also I gave you a check run for the month of May, well, the checks that were paid, I think there's a pretty good sized Baker and Taylor check on there. But when the books are fully entered, I would just say it's safe to assume we'll probably be right on with the library material line. So it won't be 16,000 under there for the whole year. But for the whole year, right as of now, we're 38,503 under budget. And I think after June is over, we'll probably be 28 to 30,000 under on the overall budget.
Okay.
For, because of a few lines that really came in under budget. That represented that 30,000, that adds up to that. So more or less we're gonna end, under, even accounting for, well, actually, maybe not quite 30, with the books being entered, maybe it'll be more like 25,000 under what we planned. So if my math is right, I printed out last June's balance sheet. At the end of the year, we had about 265,000. So if we had been on budget, we would have ended this year with about 202 cause we used 63 in a reserve, but it looks like we're gonna probably end between 230 and 235 of cash at the end. So roughly better by about 30,000 than what we, you know, if we'd been right on budget, we would have used 63,000 of reserve out of the cash. So we'll land with 30 grand more than what, if it had been right on budget. The loan balance after the June payment with 7 more payments to go, 6 this year and then January is the last one. The balance is now 59,241.95. And Matt, Carol and I, we're gonna request a journal entry of actual expenses, that were incurred by people that did programs that were, they prepared programs for the library, but they were paid out of salary. So we were gonna propose moving about $2,000 out of the salary expense line into the adult program line, which is fairly under budget now, because it's not reflecting that they did programs while they were on the clock, so to speak. So that would kind of make the salary line right on or slightly under budget, and it would more accurately reflect the adult program line, which now looks kind of light. So we thought about that. We wanted to bring that up to the board to see, for a discussion about that. And again, I printed out the check run for May. And I was noticing, I didn't see an Oxford check on here. I think, Mary, we did the Oxford check late April for May, I think. That's probably why it didn't show up here.
Okay.
I know it was
I
paid.
know we paid one.
Yeah, so
I
there might have
remember
been,
coming in and signing one, but I can't remember. what
we
it
might have had
was.
2 in 1 month, but they were just checks dated there, but they were for 2 separate months.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But that's
Yeah,
why
yeah, I
you,
got it.
that's why you don't see it on this report. But I always try and make sure I mail that by the 1st or so it gets there, you know, pretty quick. So more or less, that's where we're at, and thanks for your time.
So the journal entry is because of, you can't pay an employee on 1099.
Right, absolutely. If they're on payroll, they can't be on a 1099.
So they worked extra hours
We
should-
outside,
hours
they worked
outside.
outside of their normal hours.
Right, to
Right,
To do the
host
adult
a program.
right,
Okay.
right.
So
To the-
we would have had somebody else, you know, back, so
Right.
they sat in for a performer or another program.
And their hourly rate is probably lower than what a program person would come in and do, you know.
Well, that's the
Right.
reason we must, yeah.
That's right, I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No, I'm sorry. Kind of like we're doing with the maintenance, the same thing.
Right.
And if we were more over, we had a little more there, so, but we figured the program one was the more accurate, because the program line really shouldn't look as under as what it is when we take that into account.
Okay. The answer fee, what are we doing about that, because we're over budget on that, so.
I have to check. I think I have for next year.
Because we only paid up to May, we still have to pay June, don't we, or?
No, the quarter.
That's the whole thing?
Yeah, all the quarters are in. We might have just been under budgeted by a little.
Yeah, we're like 13, almost 1,400 under. I
Yeah.
was just wondering if we were gonna need a journal entry for that too.
I guess we could do it for that as well, because I think we have more room. We would have to see if we have more room under the adult, the people in the program line. But I'm looking for answer for next year. Oh yeah, yeah. For next year's budget, we didn't really add much to that either. So maybe we'll have to adjust, you know,
Adjust the
tinker that for
distribution.
next year too.
Okay.
But yeah, it's slightly over. I think it's
Yeah,
slight.
it's not even like, it's not even 1%, is it, or is it 1%? It's not even 1%.
Maybe a couple percent, yeah. I think it might be, I don't know if we put that RCLS fee in there or not. Can you remember, Matt? You know that fee?
Yeah, the 50,
Yeah.
sure.
If that was it, then that's what's causing it to be over.
Okay,
But maybe just to be sure, when we get into next year's budget, we should think about moving a little bit more into the answer line.
yeah, okay. So for this year, what are we gonna do? Do you wanna give us some thought on that? Just asking.
Yeah, then, I guess, what do you think, Matt? You wanna-
I know, you're looking at me
No,
like,
It seems appropriate to
yeah.
move funds over.
Are we doing journal entries tonight, or are we doing some tonight and some next meeting, or?
Well, we were only, the salary one we came up with was tonight, but the answer one, I guess we should adjust it since it came to our, you know,
Yeah.
now.
Right, so you're gonna research that, and we'll do another journal entry next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But can I ask, normally in the past, have we had are people doing the adult programs, and have we transferred money?
I don't know if I don't think
Is
we
it
have in the
not
past.
usual?
This would sort of set a precedent, but I think it's a fair one because I think often the personnel line gets hit in a couple places where it really shouldn't. It's for instance, Danny's over hours
Yeah.
that we use him as the plumber. We don't, instead of paying a plumber, we have him working over, and we're taking that out of
Yeah.
personnel, which would normally come out of building maintenance, or we've even set that aside. But this seems correct to me because these people are performing outside of their typical hours often, and they're down here,
Okay.
actually hosting the program. So we figure they're not sitting at the reference desk. They're not in their appointed position per se.
Well, it's
Okay.
it's fair. Do you want to? And it would actually have to go into the salary line because we're paying on the W.
The social security and all that too,
Yeah.
right?
Oh.
Cause we're paying them the full salary, right, yeah.
Yeah, they can't be. They have to be paid other.
Do you want to run it by Robert and just bring it up again next meeting? Bring
Right.
both journal entries again, or you did already?
Oh, we didn't yet, but like they're coming this week, we could ask this week. Cause this would be moving the actual expense, not just moving the budget line around,
Right.
right, so it would be a little different,
Yeah,
but we,
just to see what the best way is, because
Mhm.
it's got
Yeah,
things
right,
like taxes
right.
rolled into it.
right.
So it's, what do we wanna reflect in our budget? Our adult program costs or salary costs? Is that the question, really?
Right,
Carol?
As it is right now, the board has approved a budget that has so much salary and so much for programs. And we actually performed those programs, but as the expenses have been written, it's not showing that we used money for those programs, but we did.
Okay.
Right.
It was reflected in this other category, so that's what we wanna make it more accurate, that we actually did
We-
spend money for programs.
We could then say this is what we spent on these programs.
This is the actual expense,
Right.
the expenses.
it's
rather than-
understating the adult programs now, it looks like,
Right.
that we didn't really give the public that much more adult programs.
But we did,
But
except we
we-
paid that, we paid for it out of the salary line.
Right,
So what
absolutely.
you wanna do is just move money from the adult programs line into the salary line.
Yep.
And you think that's going to have some kind of tax implication for them,
Mhm.
or?
Well, I'm not sure. But
No,
how
I don't
that
think
works
so. I
out.
think we're.
I don't think it is either, I
just-
think
It's just our.
Cause we
It's a
paid
nominal
them,
amount.
we did
Right,
the,
yeah.
right,
reimbursing.
we still did all withholding and whatever.
Yeah,
we
else
did
was done.
everything, right, it's
So
just an
it's just a
internal,
bookkeeping,
Bookkeeping.
internal
Bookkeeping,
bookkeeping
right.
thing, it's
Right.
not even really like an official,
right, I think with the 1099, that's why we couldn't have paid with 1099.
you
because
can't pay them because they're already a
on
salaried
W-2,
employee,
right, so
yeah.
with this, that's what the taxes
Yeah, you can only
here.
have one status with one
That's right.
organization,
Yes.
right.
Right,
So, yeah, I don't see I don't see why we can't do it tonight, because it isn't.
right,
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, I don't,
not
it's just
changing
an
the
internal
budget.
book, it's just for our own sake, so
Right.
5 years from now, when we come back and go, hey, where'd all the adult money go?
right, exactly,
Right.
right.
Yeah, okay. I don't have a problem with it.
No, no problem either.
So you wanna do it tonight? Do you have an amount?
$2,000?
Just $2,000, okay.
Right, cause we came up with roughly 80 hours worth of programming at an average cost of $25 an hour.
Okay.
Cause you can't nail it to the penny because it's different
Yeah.
people doing programs or whatever, but
At
That's-
different rates. and
right, different
amounts
rates
of
and-
time and
but that's a
speed.
reasonable, close to as you can get.
Right.
number,
So we're
pretty much.
compensating the salary line because the salary line paid for adult programs.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, do we do that now, or do we have to do it later, or how does that work? I don't remember.
Is there a
Okay.
motion required?
Can we do this now, or does it, yeah, okay, so now,
So it's,
so I'll make a motion that we make a journal entry and transfer $2,000 from the adult program line to the salary line to cover the cost of the, adult program expenses.
From salary to adult,
Okay.
right?
No,
Right.
No, from
No.
from
adult
adult
to
programs to
salary,
salary.
right? You paid for them
No.
out of salary?
No,
Did I
it's
do
from
that?
salary
It's
to
the other way
adult.
around.
Yeah.
Oh, I did it backwards, okay.
Right, if it
so-
was budget, then we'd be moving more to the budget line, but we're doing the actual, so it's
Oh.
salary to adult, right?
Okay.
it's
Well,
really-
but wait a minute, how does, we already spent, we've already spent that much.
We already
Right.
spent it, right, but we're gonna move
Right.
it into the line where it belongs, so.
Right.
I get it.
It's a
So
very
the
good-
salary at the end of the year, if we ran a report, we'd still have that higher number, but then at the bottom, there'd be minus 2,000,
Right,
which would be
okay.
moved to,
Alright, okay,
right.
so let's start over, so I make a motion to move $2,000 from the salary line
right,
to the adult program
right,
line
Yep.
to pay for the expenses of
Right.
With
Right, perfect.
employees.
Right, I,
Sounds good.
Sound right?
well, no, just double check, because to me, I understand it might be counterintuitive, but in actuality, this is what we spent
Mm-hmm.
on salaries,
Mm-hmm.
which is over.
Mm-hmm.
So now we need to,
We subtract 2,000 of that expense
It-
and put it
but
on.
if this compares against everything else at Quicken, or QuickBooks, I'm sorry, when you're on a report on QuickBooks, it's gonna have,
Well, for the,
how's that gonna look on QuickBooks?
well, when Rob does the year-end W-2s and all that, it'll still have that 2,000 will still go towards those employees' salaries.
Right.
So they'll still
But
pay
it'll
tax
just
on
be a
that.
notation that it's,
Right, just
Yeah.
internal in QuickBooks for the,
right, the
or
2,000
expense.
of the.
Right. But they'll still, taxes paid by employees to the government will still be based on that higher amount.
Sure.
Right, right.
But we can
Right.
now,
And that's
But
what
I made a
I'm,
motion, so, anybody wanna second it?
well, we're discussing it. You make a motion, then you discuss it.
Oh, you're sick, so poor.
I'm just
RCLS
saying.
board and crap, yeah.
doing this tells us how much we spend on programs, which might be a question raised.
Well, right, plus,
So-
but it's also, internal bookkeeping so that you know when we go back years from now, what
Right,
we spent money on. If we don't move it around, then
right,
well, why did we have to do an excavation for the ground?
Ground.
right.
Yeah, okay.
Mm.
You okay with it now, Bert?
Like I said, it's counterintuitive,
I
so.
know,
it's all
it
right.
is, yeah.
Are we through discussing? Cause I'll second it. Move it on. All in favor? Sorry.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, so be it.
So move it 2,000 up.
So we're
Thank you,
we're
thank you.
over on the salaries by 1,800.
Yeah.
Is that
We're
or
gonna
the
subtract
1,200?
2,000
We can just
from it.
subtract.
There's 2 more pay periods left, so at most it probably won't even be that, so we'll probably end slightly under now, at least for this,
Okay.
for the report, right?
Did you
Just-
used to have an RCLA line separate from answer to reflect the RCLA fees?
Good question. I can't remember now. We only pay that once a year, so I'm trying to think of where we coded it to. It might be in answer, but it might be in one of the other electronic resource lines. I'll have to go back and check.
So I think there used to be a separate line. I think that would be a little clearer
Oh, maybe
if we do that.
maybe it's in the other though, because I see 1,500 in other. So if it's in other, then you're right now. Mary's right that we probably should for next year make a journal entry with the budget, before it gets, and then move something to the
So
answer.
that it'll cover the whole year's
Right,
expenses.
right,
without having
exactly,
to do
right,
this thing. Okay.
Right, because we didn't, admittedly, it looks like we didn't budget enough for answer for next year, because I think we left it the same, 27,657, so
Yeah,
probably could use a couple grand more for
Yeah.
next year.
okay.
Are you keeping tabs of the things that we need to add to next year's budgets? For example, this and at the last meeting or the meeting before, we talked about getting an audit done and having monies
Yeah.
to pay for that.
The
Is
audit
that
would
so-
be
do you have a running list of?
a tab, like a subtotal for each
Mhm.
group. Yeah, the audit would definitely be covered, because we have more than enough in professional fees that's helping us be under by so much this year.
Sure.
But if we do the audit, we'll have it covered there.
How do we keep track of these budget changes for when we do the budget next?
I
Right,
have
that's-
like on
You
Excel, like I have notes and stuff, and
Okay.
and I have all that. But the audit absolutely would be covered, because as of now, we're not spending anywhere near our professional fees than what we have in there. That's how we're under by so much. So for next year, we would have that covered.
Okay. Were maths classes covered under that professional's fee?
Yes.
Yes, that's what we paid for
So-
this one.
All right. All right. Just so that we can have a running.
Continuing ed.
Oh, wait,
Oh,
what-
continue.
Yeah.
It's
Continuing?
continuing, yes.
Continuing ed.
Okay.
And I think for that one, we did add for next year, because that's another one that if
That's a
you,
little.
Yeah.
that got whacked by, I can
Couple
say his name
different-
now, he's in Texas, but I think it got whacked,
Yeah,
Frank,
he
if you're
had-
watching.
Yeah, he hacked that.
Got
First
cut.
is right.
He chopped that up.
All right.
So we next
He's
year,
one of the 4 people.
we added two,
I'm sorry.
we added $2,000 more to that for next year, 6,000 from 4, so
Okay.
that'll cover that one. So,
So you are keeping of what we need to take into account for
Yep.
next year's budgets, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any increases looming on the horizon from the state for retirement, anything like that?
No, the
we need to think
retirement, Bernie and I, right, we went through it a few times, and if New York State isn't, exaggerating, I don't wanna say fibbing, but they're saying it's gonna start to go down, and so hopefully next year, was it next year or the following year that it's gonna, it was either next year or the following year that it's
Following
gonna,
year, yeah, I think it's supposed to be level this
so we left it roughly the
2014,
same.
2015 is supposed to be level.
So what we paid 2013-14, we'll be paying for 2014-15,
Right.
same amount, and then
Then it should go
15-16
down.
it's supposed to go down.
Right.
And it could go down pretty,
Which is still gonna be higher than we paid 2
Yeah,
years
yeah,
ago,
right.
but it's.
it won't be $100
it'll
grand,
It'll be less, yeah.
like it used to be 50 grand, so.
Yeah,
so.
alright,
Mm.
whatever.
Everybody get a chance to look at the list of checks? Is that right? The Time Warner check, is that for 1 month or is that for multiple?
Yeah, that's the new rate,
And that's our internet connection?
the $174.99.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the internet, right? I know that changed from what it used to be, but
But there's another connection from RCLS. We have a separate connection from RCLS.
Right,
it changed in the last year or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Time Warner decreased the rate, but they were paying $220 or something, or but it's down to 175 now. But we have the RCLS. I mentioned the RCLS link because we can use that as backup. I
Right.
understand.
Mhm.
Yeah. In case this was to go down for a portion of the day or something.
What are we getting
Mm.
from Time Warner? What speed, throughput?
That I don't know. Hi.
I assume it's pretty high.
Isn't there they have all those
Well,
different tiers?
it's business class. It's not.
Oh, so it's automatically more expensive.
Right.
That's business class, so
Yeah,
we
to
hold you
a
in a
considerable
whole
amount
lot,
and
yeah.
considerable speeds apparently.
But, we're a nonprofit, we ought to get a break on the thing.
Yeah, we don't pay tax. There
We
you go.
don't pay taxes. No, but we shouldn't be lumped in with like,
Do you know
We're
what
a
speed
library,
we're
for
at?
instance.
Yeah, 35 by 5.
Is the accountant the same as Rob Schultz?
I think that's.
You have the 1150
I-
plus the 485? Is that the same person? It says accountant.
That's the Bridget. It's a journal entry. It's something that's been showing up on that report. You know that weird thing that Bridget put in
Mhm.
where it shows up on the. Did I ever show it to you? Where it's just it's a journal entry or something she did. That's why it says accountant from Bridget. And for some reason or another, it shows up on the unbilled pays report until I cut checks. So we normally just ignore it. So I should have just deleted that row.
so that's not actually
It's not a
we
check.
played?
Yeah, that or I sorted it wrong. I just did this when we were upstairs just now, but that's
Oh,
not a
okay.
check. It's not definitely not a check.
So we are paying her 1150.
No,
Okay.
she's under Rob Schultz 485.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
Anybody have any further questions?
Oh, and you see TAM is in there for the valve, the 2500. I'm near the bottom.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, so that's in the building repair line already
So
too.
we're all set for Eric
Right,
Don't
Right.
say it.
right.
and so we won't have one.
So we are?
We are, we
They
have
were?
Valve and classes.
Oh, good.
So I don't have it. It's exciting. People have tea and donuts.
Okay. May I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make that
Motion
motion.
made by Ellen Mary, seconded by Norma. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate
Good to
that.
see you.
Thanks. Have a great night. Good to see you.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Director's report.
Oh, sure. Good evening, everybody. Congratulations again, Bernie and Mary. Keep up the good work. I meant to bring a newsletter, but you should be getting it soon in your mailbox. Came out very nice, very festive and summery looking. Biz Boom Read. I think probably we put some other stuff. You all saw this. This is our children's
Yeah.
glaring summer.
Yeah.
Summer reading
That's right.
offering. What's the big news? Well, Danny's gonna be out for a couple weeks, and he's got good eye surgery. Bruce Peterson, he's been here before in the past, will fill in a couple hours, maybe an hour a night or whatever, just to do basic stuff. Knock on wood, hopefully it all goes well, because I don't, well, his other eye's not very good, so this is,
Oh, I didn't know.
And Joanne's been out off and on a lot.
They're doing both eyes? Or
No, they're
just one?
doing one, yeah, the other one, I think, he has cataracts now, they're removing cataracts now. Good eye.
Wow.
She's on the card.
Aren't you Sunshine?
Sunshine Committee.
No, I think
No,
Jim.
Jim.
I think
Sunshine?
Jim is the
Yeah.
Sunshine Committee.
Mm.
How's Joanne?
She's been down in the hospital now for 2 weeks, and we were for a week and a half. It
Has
was-
it figured it out?
I don't think so. I mean, I've gotten some texts from her via another staff member that keeps in close contact. Sounds like she's feeling all right, but they obviously don't want to release her yet. So,
They fear she had a real stroke.
which is what happened last time.
Is that something we should be discussing
I'm
in
s-
public?
So we,
Just gonna say the
Are
same.
we
Right.
violating privacy?
But she should be hopefully back within the next week or so, I'd say. One Act Masters, I got a report from Ken. Yeah, it looked like good turnout to me. He wasn't happy with it, but it looked like they had, 3/4 of the place filled most of the nights. But apparently there was Time Terrell record issue, and I guess they're changing the way they're doing things with the Go section, and the editor, the new editor didn't cover the show, didn't cover a few shows that were happening, so he said it had an impact on a few people, but he usually has a full house. I mean, I think every play he's had so far, full house on the last weekend, on the tail of a very good review,
Yeah.
and this time he had no review, so it just sort of stayed flat through the whole thing. Sadly I didn't get to go. I don't know, did any of you guys get to see
They're
it?
very good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We had some people finding ways around security that we had in place that were getting on. We actually have 2 hours a day for people. That's pretty, most libraries have an hour. So we had some people figuring out how to get around that and get 4 hours or whatever. They're pretty easy to pick out after doing it for a while.
After 2 hours.
Right. Then wait a second. So anyway, we tightened it up a little bit, and it seems that the 3 people that I knew that were breaking the 3 scofflaws that I knew of no longer aren't here any longer than 2 hours a day. So it's worked so far. We
You
can
pay
go up
fines?
one night. What's that?
Do they pay fines? If the book is late, you pay a fine.
Yeah, no, we don't have a. Maybe we can.
Well, what's an hour of internet cost?
Mhm.
Uh,
Let's see, what's that bill from
Yeah.
Time
Yeah,
Warner?
right,
Let's see,
exactly.
let's just go back
Right.
here. Time Warner, 1685, no, 174.
If they're on health and safety, they shouldn't be on longer than 2 hours a day.
that's right.
There you go.
I guess, Bernie, did you want to talk a little bit later on more about the? I won't go into the Keith was there as well. Meeting we had at the Salesian with.
No, we'll go over it in
Later on,
the
okay.
building committee meeting, or section.
Let's see. Oh, Norma, Bernie, and myself went to an RCLS program on financing and bonding a building construction project, which was very informative, a little frightening, but it's worth going. At least we learned that there's a lot we don't know, and there are people that know the things we don't know that can help us out along the road.
So, what was the gist of it, that we have to hire somebody for that?
That isn't part of the deal with Paul?
No, these are other. Well, I had a back and forth with Mr. Pressburg, our attorney that deals with building projects, about this, and I guess it's kind of a matter of course that you have a lawyer that's, well, a lawyer, or what this guy, who wasn't a lawyer, he just did the municipal bonding but was an expert in it from another angle. But you need somebody to walk you through certain parts of this to make sure that you get all your ducks in a row so that you don't end up
Overpaying
and yeah, there was a
yeah.
bunch of stuff they brought up. Couldn't even off the top of my head. Maybe Bernie later wants to talk some more about it.
Yeah, no, he went through it pretty quickly, but the gist of it was, we need to bring somebody in to guide us through that when the time comes. And I think they'll come to to talk to us directly about it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of
Free of charge.
a primer, as
We like that.
Robert said.
There we go, that's exactly, yeah.
That's what I was wondering.
But it was kind of thing with-
going to cost stuff.
They hit you with, 30 slides of stuff, and at the end of it, all you know is that you probably need help getting through this process. That's kind of the,
Although I think the fee, he said the fee is paid at successful
Right,
funding,
yeah.
so.
yeah, he
So
said,
it is-
the good thing is they're not like lawyers, you can also get a lot of assistance from them. They don't pay by the hour. They'll give you
Oh,
advice,
okay.
in the end, is whatever.
So if it isn't successful, do they not get paid? Is that was like a
It was the,
class action lawsuit kind of thing?
You're kidding.
So the lawyers work.
we just don't pay, yeah.
They get a third unless they don't win.
What else? Oh, we got $2,000 from Friends for our
Mhm.
summer reading.
Very nice. Yeah.
Um,
Can't thank you for it. Jeez.
and the,
For what? For
For
$2,000 from your friends. For the
Summer
summer
reading.
reading program.
Summer, thank you.
yeah, 1,000 for children's and 1,000 to be split for adult and YA.
Oh, nice.
And the Millie Rivers, one of our part-time reference people, that runs the summer reading game for the adults, has planned another bus trip, this time to Liberty. I've never been there. Liberty Park.
Liberty
Park?
Science
Oh,
Center?
Liberty Park,
Yeah,
yeah,
sounds like it's gonna be fun, and it's in keeping with this fizz boom bang thing.
Sure.
And last time around, we have some funding from the Friends, some of it the patron pays for. So it turns out that the library doesn't foot the largest part of the bill. We
Oh,
just
nice.
pay it's a partial, we pay part of it. And last time with the caves, the
How caverns.
How caverns.
Is the portion from the Friends going to be used solely for materials for the programs?
The Friends, for the children's, usually it's for performers,
Okay.
and at the end of the summer performer, and for materials.
But not to pay for any staff
No,
time?
no. No,
Okay.
it's just either outside performers or materials for that we need for the various.
Mhm.
programs. Well, we had that was the big thing this month. We got a call from Jim late one night. There was a storm here in Goshen, and
A bad one.
he was wondering whether we needed to close the valve out here or whatever. So I called Danny up. Didn't say
Another
that on
valve.
camera either. Standing in the shower, I could hear the water dripping. What do you want? I said, do we need to close the valve? It's raining over there. So we went back and forth, and the valve wasn't really an issue. On the valve, the guys told me that the valve is really something, if it's been raining for days and days, and you know that the sewer's starting to, that's not going to be something that's going to happen. That's going to be something that you don't want to close it too soon, because it acts as a moat, sort of. It traps the water in the groundwater around us somewhat, because it won't allow it to go out.
Oh, nice.
So it's sort of a catch-22. I mean, so you really have to be
So it has to
careful
be
when you
Hurricane
apply it.
Irene.
Right, you want to know that there's a big. But what did happen was, of all things, and the irony,
A lot coming down, but
the water, this pipe, this downspout, I think, and I'm not pointing fingers, but I have a feeling when everything got put back together, it may not. I think if we remember, Danny and I collectively thought that we remembered the pipe being sealed, sort of, or at least the downspout going into the pipe that went out.
Yeah.
There was a gap. So the water came down and just sort of hit it and splashed out. And you could see this ravine. It had to be this wide, this deep. Just went right around the building and down the stairs and rose up here and came in underneath there.
Lovely.
And it ruined the road. I mean, the roads were soaked. I came down, Danny called me 6 in the morning to tell me that the water had come in. But I got here at 8 and we went out and investigated and saw what happened. You could see grass all over the place because of the cuttings, so you knew where they'd come from. It'd come from.
So the valve wouldn't help.
No, this was just the rainwater downstairs, like a.
So the sort of the phone call from Jim
Yes.
was alerted you to the rain.
To the rain.
If there is something like that again, is there anything other than a phone call that would alert you? There's no
Water
sensors
alarm.
or alarm?
No, the thing, and as far as that, I mean, the engineers and the plumbers that were here were all, said, it indicated to me that it was really a last ditch thing. That's, you gotta keep remembering it's like municipal wastewater versus just rainwater. Since you're down this low, you have a problem with both things, but that's really gonna be only a problem when
Good.
the volume.
Okay.
Well, you've gotta have a
We
lot
have
of water
something.
walking, moving
There
through
was
that.
a lot of water that night because my driveway, I could not leave my
Well,
house.
that's what he said, he said it was
I
flooding down
underwater.
here.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, downtown was flooding and so, I mean, I
there-
could not drive through my driveway.
Yeah, unfortunately, it would be nice if there was some sort of sensor, because it's all just judgment, it's kind of a judgment call, you know what I mean? It's not, there's no way of knowing when that thing should be thrown, because when it is, if they're correct and that those things are tied in together, which we're still not sure about, I'm gonna make another call. That really could be a problem, because once you close that, then you have, the water's just trapped in here. If, in other words, if that rainwater's supposed to go out the same way, and I looked at that, thing a couple times myself. I don't see anywhere where it was tied in. Those guys, TAM came and they did some experimentation, and they, dumping water in and looking where stuff. They seem to say that they are tied in, but I still don't see. And I feel like it's a little bit shady. I want to see myself whether they are, because it's important to know now, especially because you don't. I'm very leery about closing that, because if they're right, that means that all the groundwater is going to just stay right around this thing until it's opened up again. It can go back out.
Right.
We just learned something, that when it's flooded, at least I didn't see the flooding, but at
Yeah.
least when we get that amount, we're fine here,
We're fine,
apparently.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right,
Yeah, well,
it tells us.
we've been fine here except when the sewer comes out.
I think there are a couple things that happened together to make, it was the water coming through this thing and the fact that there was no grass and it was mounded because they had just worked, so the water was just, it was just a perfect storm of,
Yeah,
the water's
sure.
just running right over the dirt and down the, even if the yard had been undisturbed, I think it could have taken a lot more in.
Mm.
Sure.
But it was just, the ground had all just been moved and there was stones on top, it was just, So Danny and I went out that day and redug the trench. He got jimmied it back in how it's supposed to work, and we got the angle right, and we put it back in the ground and covered it, because it was the other problem was it was sort of sticking out of the ground. You could see it here and there. So we actually have it underground again. It's back in place, and we hope it's going to work.
It's gonna rain.
It's supposed to
the
rain
next couple of
Thursday and
days, yeah.
Friday, bad.
Right, so we'll find out
Right.
if this works.
when it did back up, we had a hurricane.
Yes.
We shut down here, right?
Right.
So,
Well, it
I mean,
backed up and, the sewer backed up because of the hurricane.
but
because of the,
we were in the midst of a hurricane and
yeah,
came in here and found it.
right.
But we know what natural disaster to watch for,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
something that
not
big
just a
that's-
deluge,
yeah,
periodic deluge as
which
we
is gonna
experienced
happen all
recently.
summer.
Yeah, so
Yeah, because it brought up that night. It was like I was like, even after I got off the phone, I don't know what it was kind of like, because now we have the option, but now it's sort of like it brings in it's a train, it brings in
Yeah,
other
sure,
sure.
is now which
Yeah,
way do you
we
go,
wanna
which way do you
pull
go,
that,
and you're
If you know there's a heavy rain coming, move things up to higher shelves.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, we lost the rug, thank goodness. It's just something that, from your report, it said
Right,
it was
that
an
was-
old
that
rug.
was
Find
okay.
a place,
But, if we have
did us a favor.
books that we need to,
Oh yeah,
precious things, then maybe they need
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be,
I mean, we've had many downpours of that magnitude, in the years that I've been here, and that's never happened. So I just think it
Yeah,
was
that
the
was probably
combination
just
of
the-
that thing and the
Mhm.
ground. I don't think that was atypical. I really don't think that
Yeah, I don't think
it's gonna happen.
but you fixed the downspout,
Yes, that's all.
the important part.
Alrighty.
This valve is locked, or
No, it's funny now. When I'm driving around Goshen, I see them, and I never noticed them. And I'm like, gate valve. It's just because maybe one company makes it. It's very obvious now to me. It sticks out about 6 inches, and it's a plastic, just a plastic tube that twists off, and then there's just a sort of little. It almost looks flimsy, but I mean it's this little, key that you just press down. Yeah, you got to take some force. You got to press it down. And then but yeah, I mean that worries me. I guess a kid could come along and just close it on you. But
this key is in.
And now
It's
we
don't
can all
advertise
tell
it.
them
Yeah,
how
yeah,
to
or we
do
have
it.
it in
no, there's no. You can't take it off.
Can't
It's
take it
a.
off.
I don't think there's any.
just
I
don't
thought
advertise
it
where
was
it is.
okay.
Let's,
Yeah.
let's just move.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
let's
yeah,
move
I
on.
keep
Let's
forgetting
move
about
on.
that.
Yeah. We're not telling
We could
everybody.
actually have Danny put a lock on it. Probably. There's
We
probably a
probably
way he could
should.
just put.
We're good.
That's a good idea.
Then we got to remember where the key is.
Yeah.
I did come up with an idea. I don't know if Danny would think this was a good idea or not, but most of our leakage comes in right underneath that door. And if we did sandbags up against the door on the inside and the outside,
Yeah.
when we were expecting one of these storms that we're not gonna close the gate
That would
valve on,
stop
just
that.
a regular
Yeah.
storm, it
We
might
did
keep
it
some
once.
of it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've yeah. Well,
It might help.
I mean, I don't think we wanna go this far, but one guy said, your best bet, the situation that you have here is that there are special doors that are, of course, special everything, but that, he said it would cost you a few $1,000s.
Of course it.
Waterproof, you know, I mean, in other words, you put that thing on there, the water can
It's
go
like
all
a
the way to the
hatch.
windows, it doesn't go anywhere, right,
Yeah.
and
So
so.
we have a submarine hatch.
turn.
The kids would love that if we had a submarine hatch.
A submarine door.
Yeah, right, with a big
fine.
thing.
I have to also make a correction. Bernie you were right. I was wrong. There are Danny dug out 5 inches of soil back here, and there's drains in these things too. Now where they go, that's, you know, we never knew because you know, I mean, as long as I've been here, they've been covered with literally, I don't know, you know,
The,
1.5 feet of dirt, you know.
that
Should be
washed
curb
in
drains
from all the
there.
other rain, yeah.
So
Some kind of
That-
foundation drains.
Well, what we can also do is look into a procedure for laying a sump pump out there, because
Yeah.
it seems like if everything is going to well up in the stairs,
Yeah.
as long as we have a relatively large sump pump that'll trigger, we can leave it there. I mean, I wouldn't want to leave it out there.
But if
Yeah,
you
all
put
month
it out
long.
knowing that there's
Right.
a storm coming,
Yeah.
yeah.
but back, let me one thing. But I would say back to that thing about.
We have a generator now.
Yes.
Is there an outlet there? We
Yes.
get a portable one?
We have something over on this side.
Okay.
Yeah, I talked to
Sorry.
Danny, but that's okay. I talked to Danny about it already, thinking about that. But I just wanted to say, well, I guess it was after this last thing happened, I started thinking some more about this question about whether these are tied in together. Because now I was becoming kind of obsessed with this. Is this, you know, because my, you know, your concern is, well, what, anyway. I said, wait a second, that doesn't make sense. People keep saying, yeah, they have to because that's how they did things back then. And I'm saying, but that wasn't done back then. And that drain that's in there was done in 1974 or 75, and they would not have taken that. And
Yeah.
so I think they're making a supposition,
Because the,
but then if you look more carefully at the actual situation, you see that that door is new. That was not from 1917. That means that whole stairwell was put in when that door was put in. That means that drain was put in when that was put in.
right, right.
And there leads me to believe that they're separate.
Yeah.
So that in that case, you wouldn't be so concerned about closing that thing, you know, because you wouldn't have that problem I'm saying, where they're saying be careful, because if they're tied in, you're trapping yourself in that groundwater. You're cutting off. I think you're not. I think they're separate things. I think just we haven't had anyone here with
Well, let's
sufficient
hope we don't have to try it.
technology or whatever. Does that make sense to you, though? By reason,
That makes a lot of sense.
right?
That does make sense.
So,
And plus, it's not just the groundwater that's happening there, it's the roof water.
Right.
The water that's raining and coming off the roof, coming down that leader is your biggest enemy.
Well,
That's
right.
like, you know, a fire hose
oh,
open,
yeah.
wide open.
You should, I mean, like I say, you should have seen
There's a
the
lot
force
of
that
water coming there
Oh,
off
yeah.
the
Well,
roof.
it did. I mean, it was a, you know, and right where it
Digs a
hit the
hole,
stair,
yeah.
yeah, it was like this deep, right? You know, the stair. When I had left the night before, you know, there was this much space. When I came back, it's like that.
Mm.
It just dug it all out. You know?
The we have a set of plans.
We've looked high and low, and I can't find anything for plumbing. I've looked through all of the, Ann pulled out all of the, both 1977 building and the original. I can't find anything
Well, maybe,
that shows plumbing.
maybe Paul and Megan can look at it, because this is one of the things they said they would do as
Right,
part of
that's
these
right.
fees. So,
I'll put them on it. Yeah.
When we do something like that, when they built the addition, don't you have to file papers with the county, would the county have something?
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I could.
Mm.
I went over to Ted Lewis to see if he had it. He didn't. But you're right. There should be something.
There should be
by
something.
that point.
74,
Four, I think,
72,
was
whatever it was.
something like that. They put them, anyway,
Whatever.
fun with plumbing.
Yeah.
What else? I mean, that pretty much sums it up. I mean, it was like I said, most. I mean, it was one of those newsletter cycles. So that was a lot of that and meetings and various things. Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah, I'm just curious, with the drop in DVD use and games, if anybody has any idea why that occurred this month,
Is that
this past
Lewis?
month?
I'm sorry, I didn't see this because she got to me. I'm sorry.
She made comment on games,
Okay.
and I was just curious,
Finals.
what contributed to it, maybe.
Finals.
Finals,
yeah.
yeah.
Are they not in each May?
Yeah, that was kind of strange.
And just the DVDs too, dropped to,
Yeah.
I think 170, I don't know, 10%.
I'm starting to lose faith in these statistics though, because they just keep finding bugs in the software. Maybe we just had a problem where the last 3 months were all artificially depressed, the numbers, and we got new numbers because they weren't counting something because some glitch happened on the ESER level, but that is, I mean, it's odd, cause the others, well, other books are up.
That's not
DVDs.
surprising. All our commuters,
I don't know, that is weird.
I don't know.
Get more, audiobooks include digital audiobooks, or they only include,
I think it's just the physical,
At this point.
I think it's the physical, not the downloads.
to me, that's weird. Most people will just, I don't know, maybe not,
At
maybe
this-
they'll just get
Ah.
DVDs and CDs.
CDs, yeah, I haven't been a commuter for many years, and CDs work for me for good many of those trips.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Thank you.
The committee reports, the building committee. We did go out to Silesian and, he coned off the area, you know, one of the options for the area. And, to show us how the land, how that worked in the land and, how it looked, you know, when you stood in the middle of the cones. And, it gave you a good perspective. It's something that I can relate here because, you know, this is just a feel for,
Picture these tables.
yeah.
No.
Well, what he said, it looked big. I thought to my eyes it looked big, but, you know, it just, cones on the ground and the building would actually look smaller. But
Yeah.
it seemed to work, you know, there's all these discussions that are gonna occur on, you know, how if we're gonna move forward with this and how we're gonna lay it out on the land over there, but, this seemed to work quite nice, you know, with, the existing trees and providing an area, that we could do things in. But the one thing I took away from our meeting, we came back here afterwards and went through many things. And there's a lot to this process, and there's going to be some costs that we may not have thought of, such as having a construction manager. And I can't speak on this. We'll have him do it. We need for him to come here and discuss with the group because there's a lot to discuss for this project. But one thing was to schedule, to come up with a month in which we would start having the community workshops. And he was fairly aggressive in having June for that, but it's not possible, but we have to commit to a month and make sure their schedule permits for setting up some of these public meetings to discuss what our community wants in a library. You know, it's something we have to start thinking about setting up soon. And I think the last month thrown out was August. That would probably work.
Latter
That's what I have.
part of August.
That's
or-
what I have in my notes. You know, there's concern on people not being around
I
in
was just gonna
June,
say,
July.
August is actually the worst month.
But we do have September, which is a busy month, especially for teachers and for families.
School age
Um,
ones.
Are we not going to put together an advisory committee like the one we put together when we were looking at the Q building? Just, are we not gonna do that?
I don't know.
Why would we
And-
do it?
To have input from the community, from people from the community be part of the committee to help?
But
to
that
help do
is
that?
what these
Right, that's what I thought that
charrettes are
was.
about.
Mm.
Right. I think August is an absolutely terrible idea
I-
because, no, seriously, the
Well,
village, the town
mm.
shuts down in August. There's businesses downtown that traditionally just closed for 2 weeks, 3 weeks out of August because there's nothing going on. And it's like a hot button thing for people when votes are held in August, when anything like that is held in August because half the town goes away. And anything we do in August, if we do it in August, it might be perceived as trying to pull a fast one.
We would never be pulling a fast
I know we wouldn't
Um,
intend to
I think
pull a fast one.
September is good, it's busy, but that's when people are very motivated about those
Right.
kinds of things. So
And
I
then
think
that
September, even though it's
worn out
kinda
in
busy, I
school.
think people are like, okay, gung ho, like, this is a new
Yeah.
year for things. I think end of September is actually,
Is a better
Better
idea.
time.
Alright, then check with him
Sure.
on September's availability. This is where we reserve, say, like the senior center for
Mhm.
one of the meetings, and
Yeah.
I don't know, if you could do it in the school building, the superintendent's building.
Mm.
But it's something we have to find, you know, his schedule, permitting, and start, calling these places and, you know,
Mhm.
schedule the resources.
And there might be a few, one on a Saturday to allow people to work.
Yeah, it's not just,
Yeah.
certainly not just one.
Yeah.
And, I don't know how many we'd have and over what period of time, but it was advised that we start thinking about this and schedule something when we can, so.
So we're not gonna ask for members of the community to be part of a building committee.
They
Just
would
wanna
be
be
part of
clear
the
that-
discussion,
Right, but, you know, then they.
you know, we should
workshop-
have Paul come here and
I was just about
discuss.
to
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah,
Just
that's
to do it.
probably a better.
We're going on what he's provided to us and,
Yeah, if he can attend the July meeting.
One meeting I can't be at.
Huh? Yeah.
I can't be at the July meeting, I have to be out of town. Have we also, I know that with the paperwork that he provided, it's a 2-floor building, 2-story building. Are we thinking we might wanna see something with 1 story to compare costs? 1 story versus 2 stories?
One story would use a lot more of the land,
Yeah,
um,
but
but it would
it-
facilitate.
well, you know, we gotta
Administration.
get him here to discuss some of these things, but that's a good question to be asked.
Yeah,
What was the square footage of this?
I think he's working on
Thinking.
20,000,
Yeah.
20,000.
20,000, that's 2 stories, and
if it's 1 story, that's less parking, that's less green space, that's less, you know what I mean, if you're gonna do 20,000 this way,
well, you
instead
know,
opposed to 20,000 this way.
it's hard to say the square footage if we've not had the discussion with the community on what we do want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
20,000.
he's going on like Warwick,
That's what,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
so.
Yeah,
But we need to get him here to discuss, you know,
Mhm.
these and several other questions need to be brought to the table.
because of Warwick's design, it lended itself nicely to their current layout, the way
Mhm.
they built it, but, because they're partially into a hill, so they actually
Right,
have
right.
the kids' area is on the lower level, but it actually has access out. They were able to design it, so it's easy access to that level as well.
Mm-hmm.
But there's
I
other.
can pass, you know, this is one of the drawings they made on one of the layouts of the building, and what was interesting was how, you know, we have
I have
2 rows of trees that border the road and don't afford 2 car
you have
lanes.
this?
One option is to make the farther row the middle of the road and having, you know, another lane on the other side, so that none of those, perhaps none of those trees are removed, which is kind of a nice thing,
Yeah.
but
It's a nice idea. It would facilitate things it might facilitate things for construction as well.
the thing is, we
Being
have,
more trees there.
I don't know,
Yeah.
it's the nuns' quarters and those other dilapidated buildings that probably as part of this would be brought down, but that affords the land to make these changes to the road.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
but he's got so many, I think, some great ideas, and you know, and
No, but I mean, he used what's here.
yeah, and it doesn't cut into the field, the big open
Right,
field.
and it doesn't,
Yeah,
it's
there,
very,
there's
smoky.
other things discussed, such as the drainage and using that area, because if you've ever gone there after it's rained, it's somewhat flooded,
Oh, is it?
so that has to be taken into account.
Yeah. Oh,
And,
yeah.
you know, they've put a lot of thought behind some of these things.
Is this the same thing?
And we have to, as a group, decide, you know, if we're going forward with this, what the layout, and whether we're gonna do two stories and what the option would be for one story.
Orientations.
Oh, I see.
So that's my 2 cents on the meeting. You guys have anything to add?
No. It is
Yeah, it is daunting, believe you me, with all the things he brought up. But worthwhile to bring this library to its building with
Oh, and then they're going to
programs. Nothing.
So
Yeah.
you're gonna ask him to come to July meeting?
July, yep.
July meeting and
September.
try to see if the schedule is
For the first September as far as that.
September.
If he can't make the July meeting, what are the
Well,
rules against or about if we were gonna make a working session and have him come to the working session, what are the rules about lead time? In other words,
do we advertise for that?
Yeah.
A
But
working
we don't
session?
have to make it's not like a vote, it's not like a 45-day thing,
No,
it's
no.
only like
No,
a couple of
I-
days, right?
I didn't think we advertised for working sessions, maybe I'm wrong.
No,
I think
Just
we
for-
should.
Just to keep the public in the loop,
Yes.
we generally do advertise that we're
But it's
planning one.
it's only
Okay.
a couple of days, right? We don't have to give like a 3 or 4 day notice. Because when we had the hurricane, we called a special meeting, remember?
Yeah,
That was
Yeah.
an
We don't
emergency, but
have
we
to.
gave it like
Okay, no,
a
I'm
4-hour notice.
all for
but we
making
we
sure the
like
public is
especially
aware of
on
what's
this
going on.
subject.
Yeah, right. We don't wanna.
So we instead of the board meeting, having him come to a work session
If
instead?
he can't make it to the board meeting,
if they're busy that one night.
yeah.
I'll find out tomorrow.
I will not be at the July meeting, regrettably.
If you wanna talk to, give Matt what dates you're gonna be available, not now, if you want.
Yeah, I'll
Or,
send you
or,
an email.
and,
I'll
and
send you
or,
an email.
and or you have questions, put
Right.
them together.
Well, I'd like to hear what he's saying, and that way we
Understood,
come up
but-
with questions, so.
Understood, but
Hmm.
it's only available.
If he's available on the 14th, if he's not, then we'll pick another date, and I can send you some dates.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
And, well, Jim's not here for his committee reports, but, unfinished business, anything to bring up? No?
I don't think so. Is there anything, no, I don't think so.
Nothing we put off?
I just have a little something, it's, I don't know, in August, I'm going on vacation, and it happens to be during the month, so normally the secretary would take notes, but if you folks wanted to make sure I was here, we'd have to change the date of the August meeting.
So
Okay.
what have
We have the
done in
secretary and-
past? Has one
We've
of,
done
Jim-
both ways,
somebody's taken
Jim
notes?
Jim took the notes.
yes, and then they
When
just
you went to
turn them
Aruba
over.
or something, Jim took the notes.
So I just wanted to point that out.
Okay.
We also have the video recording can,
Right. Usually the secretary would take notes and just hand them it over to me for that, particular meeting.
Oh,
I'll miss you
actually,
guys, but Aruba sounds nice.
Okay. New business then.
is the July meeting a reorganizational meeting?
July.
July,
Well-
that's when we vote on the,
board?
July is when we decide on,
Reorganization.
yes, it's,
Yes. That's the organizational meeting.
So, we're
Thought this
picking
meeting
the,
was supposed to have been,
What was
the committee
election?
this meeting,
That was
Is it
Ryan
Ryan?
and, that was supposed to be done today. Yeah.
the
So it was
slate?
the president and vice president and all that was supposed to decide tonight, it's official next meeting or something. Or he's supposed to, I don't know,
okay.
a slate of officers and we all go, alright,
Well, then
whatever, so
The
we'll do
next
it next month.
Nominating committee and,
That's it, I couldn't think of the word.
yeah, nominating committee and then,
Yep.
slate
And
of
then
officers.
then we approved the
Tell
bank
Mary,
and
my
that.
memory is bad, but was not our last one
Let's
a
have a
two-year
month.
thing?
I don't remember
See,
that.
it feels
Did
like we just did that, that's why.
Every
know,
year we
I
have to do it.
kind of
I know,
Every
but-
year.
But it
I
doesn't
don't
feel like it was a
know.
year ago, though.
Like, we do it every year.
Maybe it was.
But it was a 2-year limit.
So,
July.
It's a
See,
2-year
I
limit,
believe,
that's
yeah.
what it was.
yeah, but that's,
Fine.
as a board member, it's one out of
But-
7, so.
And the next one is when we
That's
approve
critical.
the book, the bank and the lawyer and all of that, right? Isn't that what we did?
I wish I had a copy.
Okay.
Not going anywhere. It's a new substitute appointment action item.
We need a resolution to appoint Baron Angel as a substitute librarian 1 to the staff of the Goshen Park.
Thank you for writing it. Can I have a motion, resolution to appoint Beryl Angel
Baron
Angel?
Angel
as a substitute librarian?
1.
Oh, 1, I thought it was I. To this, 1, to the staff of the Goshen Public Library and Historical Society. Ellen Mary, Bernie seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
Did I? Yeah. It's a good name.
Baron Angel sounds like from a book.
Yeah,
I know,
it
so I
does,
was
it's a
thinking
really
the
cool
same
name.
We'd like to stay open, part of the Sunday of the Great American Weekend while we're having the book sale
Sounds good.
from, I don't know, whatever you think would be, I
Oh.
thought something like 11 to 5 or 12, maybe 12, I don't know, because there are things going
Yeah, I don't
from,
know.
what's
When
it
does
called?
it wind down?
They close up, they start to
I'm
close
sorry,
around.
it's on Sunday?
this
3:30
is
to
Sunday,
4.
gonna do it Saturday and
Sunday.
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday,
Yeah,
yes,
usually
So you're
we do
gonna
just
do
Sunday
Saturday.
could be quiet,
So
but
if you did like 10 to 3?
We could
or-
do, yeah, we could do a, I'm trying to think when they probably will wind up.
It kind
10
of
to 3
winds
sounds
down
good.
in the
Yeah.
afternoon. That's how I'm just
especially
thinking.
for
Like,
12 to 3.
Oh, if it rains,
more
forget
than
it.
enough.
if it rains, you
Keep
could go
keep
home
it
whenever
open
you
to
want.
conduct business or just for people who use
Well, we'll
the
have the up-
facilities?
I think we'll have the upstairs open, it'll be minimally staffed, but, you know, I'll probably be there, definitely be there, and, we'll probably, I mean, I think we'll have the circulation just for the upstairs, doubt we'll get too much usage, but, in case, you know,
Mm.
circulation numbers are always good if you can get a few more books out, so.
Will we have a book sale on
That's
the
what,
bottom?
yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Right,
a,
book sales
right,
on
I'm just
the-
trying to think what time they start, cause I'd like to be here to help them out.
That book sale starts early.
Nothing starts at the Great American till 10 in the morning.
But I know the churches has their rummage sale, book sale thing.
Yeah, but I'm talking about
in the
around the
morning.
Mhm.
Dave,
They
you
just put
know-
up a
Right,
board at
and we
9
have
o'clock,
it,
yeah.
but this is early. I remember
Did
last
you
year.
check the Great American
was
Weekend,
here.
did you check on the computer what?
Yeah, they
what
start
time
to,
the
they
book
start to set
sales?
up by
Sunday?
9, they
They
start to
were
set
setting
up.
up for
Sunday, I
early.
believe
Because
it's
it
10
might
to
do us-
3.
Volunteered to help out.
Let me
too.
check.
Yeah, so 10 to 3 sounds like a good.
So we could do that then.
So it's
stay
like
open
in the
while
middle of the
they're
day.
yeah, we get a lot of visitors
Well, that's
to
what I'm
Goshen
thinking, yeah,
who
who wouldn't otherwise.
are in adjacent towns and
Yeah, I don't know.
check it
Do
out.
10 to 3?
10 to 3 sounds good.
Okay, that's all right, David, we'll do 10 to 3,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's,
Yeah, so let's just do that.
good, thank you.
So
You don't
that's
have to
all.
vote on
Yeah, I
that.
don't
You
think
say
it-
Just,
okay.
you don't have to vote,
Yes.
you just.
Alright.
Other that I wanted to include here was, I'd like to sign off on the contract with Cornerstone Arts Alliance for the upcoming Shakespeare Festival, and then I think there's 2 or 3 other educational historical plays.
Right.
Okay.
And we have the money,
And
but
this is for the new
same-
fiscal
this is
year.
for the new
Yeah.
fiscal year
Okay.
coming up. So
That's
just
good.
let me know that.
No changes to it.
No,
Yeah.
no,
So we don't have to vote on that.
No.
Approved it in the budget, you just let
it's
us know.
approved, right.
Yeah.
Another, okay.
He was
Alright.
here today telling me that the play, that the rehearsals are going already for
Which Shakespeare
That's
is
right.
it? Oh, nice.
The other news, getting confused with my dates here. Let's see. I'd like to take maybe a week off in
No.
Vacation.
it's been a long time.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I can't think, where am I here? 13th is Friday.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
right.
not that week, but the following week.
For the last week of June.
Right? Yeah, 20, into the late, yeah.
So if it's, this is the 13th and it's the 20th, so the 23rd, the week of
Yes,
the 23rd.
that's it, thank you.
You're welcome.
I tried to look up, I can't use this phone yet. Can't even get the calendar to work right.
That's a new phone?
Yeah, well, it's a used new phone. But I'll be, I'm I'll be available. Either
So,
online or.
It's okay.
You can be
Take off.
unavailable, you can turn the phone. So you wanna take a week off?
Yeah, that's all, just like, I know, I saw
know.
it in the staff handbook, it says I have to just let you guys know.
Let
I
us
think you
know,
could say
right.
no if, but I think it's pretty calm time, it's a pretty,
Enjoy.
thank you.
Yeah, really.
This is
It's
about
like
to get,
finals week and they graduate, everybody's out of work. Go,
Okay.
enjoy.
let me see, is there anything else?
Sleep
'Cause-
late.
Yeah. Let's always have all this stuff after I do the report that I remember. The rest has to be pushed to, executive session, I guess.
All right, then, any proposed agenda items for next month's meeting? Privilege of the floor, nobody's here from the public.
Election of the nominating committee or whatever, how are we gonna
We
handle
already
that?
have- I think Ryan and who else?
I think it was Ryan, I thought it was Ryan and Jim, but I might be mistaken, I know it was Ryan.
You didn't do it
Yeah.
last time?
Me?
Wasn't you?
Last time I did it.
You did?
Yeah, but
Okay.
it wasn't this, I thought it was Ryan and
Yeah,
Jim.
good. I knew it was Ryan.
I know it was Ryan, but I thought it was Ryan and Jim.
Yeah.
Wasn't you and Jim
It was
last
Jim
time?
and I last time.
Okay.
But he'd already
So I remember all those phone
volunteered,
calls.
that's the right word? To head that, so.
So they'll have a slate next time, so we'll, like next time.
I guess.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
cause they were, okay.
Mhm.
Then let's go into executive session.
Okay,
We have to make a motion to stop the meeting here.
so I'll make a motion, we go into executive session. What is it, 8:39?
Who will second that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Let's go into executive session.
Cut it.